Hello guys, and welcome to episode 39 of Plum's Plum Lab series. So for the last two episodes, guys, we've spent most of the episode getting our compact machines room ready for operations. So, this room, like I said, I'm kind of happy with it. Like I said, as much as you basically walk out, you know, you have an elevator, obviously to get up and down if you're not flying or anything. But I'm kind of happy with it. I mean, the fans, obviously I couldn't get them symmetrical. It probably would have been a bit better for maybe have the room extended out a bit more. But you know what? I'm not too... I don't think this room is too shabby. Obviously, this basically marks near enough the centre of the room. It's not a perfect square, so it's not going to be, a perfectly, symmetrical room. But we're basically ready to get into some combat machines. I'm very happy to say. So the first things first, what we're going to need is a personal shrinking device. So do we have everything to make a personal shrinking device? I don't believe we do. So I believe it's the leather we are running out of. Do we have enough to make it using the Tinker's recipe? Yes, we do. So what I'm going to need is one of these guys. So do we have everything to make you? Yes, we do. I'm also going to need some of these guys. Now I'm going to need another personal shrinking device. Here we go. So I've got mine here. And the miniaturized field projectors, these are the interesting things. So if I look up factory blocks, so you don't necessarily need these, but I think just for decoration I want some factory blocks. Because what I'm going to need is to sort of find the centre of the room on the y-axis. So if I treat this as the centre of the room and I sort of go out, I think, let's have a look in chisel. I want to sort of find some pillar blocks, if you will. Blocks that would look cool as pillars. I don't just want to use something like that, sort of the caution drives. What about these metal boxes? Would these make cool looking pillars? Not really. I'm not really digging that, if I'm honest. I'm gonna half the stack to sort of end up wasting all the durability on my chisel. So let's have a quick look at some blocks. I think might look pretty cool as a pillar. Metal column. I think metal column has it sounds like it has the potential. And you know what? I am in a way I'm kind of digging it. And if I stick this guy down, okay, he's facing the wrong way, and they do take a little bit of time to break. If I stick this guy down, what he's going to do is he's basically going to just hang out for now, but if I right click on this guy, he's basically going to show me positions where I can put my other compact machine. And now by the looks of things, this guy doesn't have to be in the direct corner of the room, which if I'm honest I'm actually kind of happy about. So if I stick this guy here and I say go up by 4 blocks, and I stick one of these miniaturized field projectors down again, and I right click him again, he's basically going to show me the positions of where the other ones need to be, because you need 4 projectors to go around, and you'll see what they do in a second. So if I stick this guy down, he's going to show me then the positions of where the other ones need to be, and now that possibly means that I'm going to definitely need the elevator. But if I right click this guy again, where does he sit? Okay, so he's in the wall. So if I want it to be this size, it's probably good. It's probably a good thing to actually use the elevator. Although what I'm going to do is get myself some more of these metal pillar or the metal column blocks. Because just to come out, if this guy needs to be here, I could possibly wangle it by doing this kind of thing. So if I have the pillar there, obviously I want the elevator. You need to obviously be able to still access it. So if I press this guy again, just so I can see one last time where the other one needs to be. So in the corner of the room. So evidently I've not done the dimensions of the room, 100%. But now what's happened is they've formed this kind of weird sort of fieldy type thing. And you're probably wondering, what the hell is this thing actually for? Why has this block, this huge thing, sort of formed in the centre of the room? And basically what this guy actually is it's basically a way to, make compact machines. And the bigger you make it, the bigger the compact machine you can actually make. That's basically the short version of it. Although I think what I'm tempted to do is have something like this with the metal columns. I mean, it doesn't look 100%, but you can kind of see, okay, that's sort of supporting that column. I might sort of do that maybe to make it look a bit better. Does that look any better? Yeah, I think I can live with that. That's something I can live with. So if I go up through the elevator, I mean, you can technically just walk in and drop down, I suppose. But, yeah, so it's, it's not that much of an inconvenience, really. It just maybe looks a little bit funny visually. So compact machines, they are pretty nifty things in the fact that you can basically make a massive custom machine that you want, and it'll be the size of a block. So this sort of pulverization setup is probably one of the first things I'm actually going to automate, is the pulverization and furnace setup. So what I want to do is make myself a fair... So if I have a look at some of the recipes for say a tiny compact machine, you'll see it requires 26 compact machine blocks. You'll see it has an ender pearl slot, and this is basically the tiny compact machine. This is what you need to put into it in terms of building the structure. This is what you need to throw into the area, and this is what you get out of it. So I think what I'm going to need is probably a normal compact machine, which requires 26 compact machine blocks. I think it's basically just a small one, but you basically use a gold block instead of a iron block for the small one. So it's basically all you're getting is you go from a 5x5 to a 7x7, but all you have to do is use gold instead of iron. And if I'm honest, I think that's a bit more worth it, really. So to do this, what we're going to need is some compact machine blocks, and these are basically just blocks of iron with redstone on top and some more redstone. So to be honest, it's not, you know, an overly expensive mod to really delve into. So if I get a couple of these guys, and I'm going to need some redstone, I'm going to need 4 pieces of redstone, and you'll see why in a second. So if I go and get this guy, and I plonk, I've noticed one thing. I've probably placed these guys a little bit too high, actually. I've only just realised this, is they're not actually touching the floor, and if I'm honest, I'd rather them touch the floor. It would be preferable, definitely. Now, are these guys crescent hammerable? Okay, they're not crescent hammerable. So I'm just have to break them and then knock them down 2 blocks. If I'm honest, I may have overreached myself in terms of making this room a bit too big. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I may have made a little bit of a dirt. So let's knock these guys down by 2 blocks. I mean, effectively now this guy is going to be floating in terms of how this guy looks. So I'm going to stick this guy down here first, just so I can actually place the miniaturization block down. I can then obviously remove this guy and probably just stick them like that, just so it kind of looks like it's holding it, kind of thing. I mean, you guys can kind of get that impression, right? So if I stick this guy down here, and why did I guess I didn't break that guy down enough. If I stick this guy down here, now what should hopefully happen is, yeah, so we've now got the field, and it's now actually touching the floor, which is exactly what we want. So if I get some redstone here, and I stick this guy down with a redstone on top, and I chuck a piece of redstone into the field, you know, you should get all these cool sound and visual effects. And basically what's happening is, there we go, we now have blocks crafted. So that's basically how it works. You build a structure and then throw in the item that's required, and it basically shrinks it down, it compresses all the blocks down, makes them compact, and here we go. We now have 32 compact wall machines. So if I go look at the recipe, and I look up the recipe for a normal compact machine, 26 compact machine walls, block of gold, and an ender pearl. Now, the actual block of gold needs to go in the very centre of the machine. So we haven't got an awful lot of gold, but we have enough to easily to be able to make one of these guys. So if I stick this guy down, and we also need an ender pearl, don't we? I believe we have quite a few ender pearls from our enderman farm. So it's not too much of a biggie. So what we're going to have to do is stick this guy down. So if I go and make the structure, we're basically making a 3x3 cube with a block of gold in the very centre of the structure. So if I go block of gold there, and I stick this guy down here, and I throw an ender pearl into the actual grid, as you can see, it's going to take a little bit of a while, since this is an actual machine. You can sort of hear the electricity going through. I don't know how awful this sounds on camera. I mean, it doesn't sound great if you're a headphone user, I'm not going to lie. And there we go, we now have a normal compact machine. Pretty damn cool. So you're probably wondering, how does this guy actually work? Well, there's probably a reason why these things aren't really allowed on servers. So if I get my portable shrinking device, and I right click on this guy, And basically, so we're now loading in, and as you can see, it's basically created a new dimension. And here I am, guys, in my solid compact machine. So I've now got a 7x7 room. I can't break my way out, and the only way I can get out is by right-clicking with my personal shrinking device and getting back to the overworld. So if I right-click this guy with an empty hand, I can basically see this entire structure. So here it is. So this is basically the structure. So if I build stuff inside, you would actually be able to see what's going on. Now I think a few things I'm going to need to make are some tunnels. Now, not these P2P tunnels, we're going to need these tunnels from compact machines. So, some tunnels, they're not too shabby to make. I mean, I don't think hoppers are, you know, they're not overly expensive, so... I mean, we're going to use one... In fact, we're probably going to need a couple of tunnels, actually, so if I'm honest, we may need some more of these guys. So, I could have just probably searched the recipe for a hopper and then done it that way. That'll be easy, yeah. So let's make a few of these chests. And quite a few hoppers, since I think we're going to need a few tunnels. That's my impression. So if I look at the recipe for a tunnel, we're going to need hoppers, that, and some redstone. So we need redstone and the compact machine blocks. That's really all we need. And I believe it's just a piece of redstone we throw into the arena as well, yeah. So we need to do this maybe twice, I think, for now. So the way this works is basically it works in the exact same way we did before. So that hopper, redstone around it, then we chuck a piece of redstone in, and there we go, it's shrinking down the blocks that we put in, and we should get a couple of tunnels. Now we can't actually build in this area while this guy's working. So there we go, he's now created the tunnels again. So I'm just going to make one more set of tunnels. Now you do sort of have to be on the outside, you have to throw it into the field. You can't be standing in the field and then just throw it in. You have to be on the outside. And these tunnels are basically what's going to allow us to interface with our compact machine. So what I'm going to do is potentially something pretty nifty in regards to our pulverization smelting system. So at the minute, why are you... I'm sure this guy had an input to be able to pulverize ores. Although, actually, no, we changed it, didn't we? So all of our ores and stuff automatically get smelted. Have you... Okay, you filled up, haven't you? Yes. He's definitely filled up on his dry rubber. So what we're going to do is basically... we're going to put some of our machinery and stuff inside of a compact machine so it's not quite so exposed. So anything that I feel that we could automate and stick on a compact machine, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm basically going to let these guys run out of fuel and stuff, and so we're not really relying on this sort of method of power anymore. But anything that I feel we could potentially automate, I think that's what we're going to do. So we can't really interface with refined storage yet. We can't stick our refined storage system inside of a new dimension yet. But stuff like automated smelting and automated pulverizing, I think we could potentially start automating all this and having a compact machine sort of do the work for us. So this guy at the minute, all he basically does is just you know, receives items and stuff. I believe this is where all the ingots and stuff get. So this is where the ingots go, and they basically just get deposited straight into here. So this is stuff like, yeah, like my ingots and that sort of stuff. But I feel like the smelting system, like if I really want, like, I'm evidently going to add more stuff to my compact machine, but for now I feel like this is the sort of stuff that I could automate and put it into my system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my compact machine basically live here for now. And I'm going to stick an item duct here. I'm going to make sure that he can't interface with this guy. And he's just going to interface with this thing directly. And now at the minute, this guy doesn't want to do anything with this guy at all. He's like, nope, we're not interfacing at all. So, but what I can do with this guy, which I think is pretty neat. So if I get one more factory block just to cover up that horrible hole in the floor we've got going on there. So if I stick this guy down here, and I then right click on this guy and go inside, it shouldn't take hopefully as long to get in here. Yeah, it's not as long anymore. All I can do is basically stick a tunnel down. So if I stick a tunnel down, say here for instance, what I can do is, why are you not working? So for some reason this guy isn't quite working. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out why this guy's not working, and I'll be right back. Okay, for some reason it's now actually letting me work, and I placed these guys down, and then somehow that actually then decided that it wanted to work. So what we can do is, I believe we can get rid of these guys off the wall here. So basically what we can tell it to do is basically interface off of what side. So at the minute power is coming in from underneath, for instance. So what I can do is I can essentially, for power usage anyways, if I want my, what I'm going to do first of all is get my personal shrinking device and right click here. And I believe what this will do, if I shift right click, it'll basically set my entry point. So I'm always going to enter from this corner now. Now if I get a couple of tunnels, and I stick a tunnel there, for instance, and a tunnel there, what I can say, what I want to do is, see, this guy is interfacing with down. It's telling me he's interfacing with a leadstone flux duct. So if I set this guy to down, I don't know why he's not letting me accept down. Although I believe any one of them can be on the select one at once. So this one is the only one that will allow him to interface with the down one, for instance. So if I put other tunnels down, only one will be able to interact with the bottom side. So if you want to get any sort of power going around, you will need to get some other flux ducts, for instance. So let me enter this guy again. And obviously using the tooltip information, you can obviously see which thing is interfacing with. So if I get some flux ducts and I stick them here, for instance, I can then put my pulverizer down. And how cool is this guy? This guy is now getting power from outside. Look, so he was interfacing there now, and he's actually working. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm actually going to leave again actually because I need some item ducts. Ducts in my base. So if I go to here, also I could probably do with an extra servo maybe. You'll also get some hardened ones. I believe this should probably be everything we actually need. So if I stick another tunnel down, and I stick a tunnel down here, for instance, and I tell him, so if it says up, that means it's interfacing with the item duct above him, which there is actually an item duct above him. I don't want him to interact with that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell him to interact with the one that I believe is on the west side. There it is. So what I can now do is get myself some item ducts. So you see he's now is directly hooked up with him. And don't worry, these aren't actually chunk loaded, so you're not, it's basically why if you have like, a massive public server and you have like everyone on the server with one of these, you will very quickly lag out the server. So now what I really need is some kind of input. Some basically way to input items into the actual pulverizer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this guy again. I need some items into my tiny or my compact machine. So at the minute, why are you backlogged? I don't know why this guy's backlogged. Let's see if I can get rid of whatever's backlogged in there. For some reason gold nuggets got backlogged in there. I'm not quite sure how that worked. Okay, so this is our compact machine, and I'm thinking what I might do is have a bit of a chest hooked up. So I have a pattern chest there, but I'd rather just have like a normal chest. It's made of oak wood. This is just really for demonstration. So if well, not for demonstration, but so I can actually demonstrate what's going on for you guys. So if I stick this guy down here, and obviously I don't want him to interact with this, I just basically want some item ducts that run around the back, and that will send items into the pulverizer. So if I now hook this guy up with a servo, and I stick a servo on the back, if I can actually reach. Can I reach? Yes, here we go. So that guy's now hooked up. So he's going to extract items and put them into this normal compact machine. All I need to do now is actually set this interface with it. Now I'm not sure what side it's actually going to be on, but if I have some tunnels, so if I stick a tunnel here for instance, and I tell him to hook up, I believe it's probably going to be on the south side. So yeah, so it's the south side, and I tell him to interface here. Now any items are going to come into this pulverizer, go into this redstone furnace, and then leave. But what I could also do is have another chest which hooks up directly to this furnace. So if I want to bypass the pulverizer and just purely use the redstone furnace, I'm going to be able to. So obviously that's, I've made things a little bit complicated. But once I get more and more machines in here, I think we might be onto a bit of a winner here. I'm to possibly move the compact machine from this area and put it somewhere else. So maybe have it. I don't know. There's not really many actual areas I can use in this sort of main room. I've kind of sort of filled all the areas around this sort of room with stuff. But I think, guys, if I'm honest, I know we've not done like too much in this episode. We've but we've built this compact machine. I think we have basically hit the wrapping up point again. If I'm honest though, I'm kind of happy with what we've done this episode. We've not gone and done massive leaps and bounds into new sort of territory, but we have touched on a new mod. We've gone to compact machines. We've made our first little compact machine. And if I'm honest, there's not really any way to sort of end the episode off, really, is there, without testing this guy out. So if I get myself something that I know can be pulverized and then smelted. So what can be pulverized and then smelted? Say some gravel, and that can also be gone into sand. So if I get some of this, I stick it in here. Hopefully this stuff should be getting extracted and it should be going inside that compact machine. So there you go, it's now disappeared. And my thinking is, if I go on this guy and I personal shrink myself into the compact machine, there we go, guys. So the gravel is now entered here. It's going into the furnace. It's been smelted into glass. So if I just quickly leave this compact machine a second, what should be happening is we should be getting some glass in here. Now we're obviously not really going to be able to see this, and it's probably not going to be extracted actually because we haven't. Well, so I don't know if we necessarily need to have that there actually. I'm pretty sure it should just extract. So if I right click on this guy, as you can see, we can actually see what's inside of our compact machine. Now I believe cutting it should just treat it as one pipeline, so we shouldn't have to. Yeah, so it is automatically getting extracted and then sent across. And we haven't actually really dealt with this output here, which obviously is probably going to backlog up the pulverizer at some point. So I may need to sort that out in the future. But I think for now, just as a really basic crude up, our compact machine's working. We can just basically pump any items we want into the back of this compact machine, and it'll smelt them for us. Well, it'll pulverize and then smelt them. It's getting power. So to be fair, we've actually done a fair amount this episode. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Goodbye from Plum. Built an empire of stars.